Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Mike D, and yo, I got some thoughts, yo. Oh, first off, subscribe. There's more where this came from. I also got a podcast, Black Fathers Now. Visit blackfathersnow.com or IamMikeDorsey.com to learn a little bit more about me and all that good stuff. But yo, I got some thoughts, man, and something just recently got downloaded in here, and I don't know why I haven't thought about this recently, but I was paying attention to some of the NBA trade stuff that's going on, and it's a concept kind of popped in, and I guess it only applies to sports in today's time, but it was interesting. It was the concept of value. You know, I do a lot of speaking, and when I speak to kids, one of the biggest things that you like to emphasize is that they all have value, right? Even when you're speaking to adults, you know, sometimes adults have to take time to really understand their true value and the value proposition that they bring to the table, because we're all special, we're all unique. We all bring things that help other people, that help society in our own special way. We all have value, some way, shape, or form. But I was paying attention to some of the NBA trade talks, and, you know, I saw this trade being proposed in which one superstar was being talked about going to a particular team. And for that one superstar, and they added another player, the other team was offering 5 current players plus 2 future draft picks. Think about that. For 2 players, or in essence, one superstar and somebody else they kind of threw in the mix just to make it look better. For one superstar, you're willing to give up 5 other men and 2 future men that haven't currently been drafted yet. Value. You know, what really stuck with me was this concept of, if you don't understand your true value yourself, there's going to be someone else or another entity that's going to assign that value to you. Hear that again. Hear it again. If you don't understand your true value and you don't own that, and you're not sure of yourself as far as the value that you bring to the world, there's going to be another entity or another person or another organization or some force that's going to be ready to assign a value to you. Then what? You know, when I was looking at this trade talk, you know, in the NBA, and this happens with every sport, right? You trade one person for somebody else, or one person for these 3 people, or whatever. But I thought about it, and I would love to get the mindset, or get into the mind of one of those 5 and 2 possible players that are being traded for one player. Like, when they think about themselves, how do they view their value? In a sense that this team is willing to trade me and 5 other guys plus 2 draft picks for this one person. If they're not sure of themselves, if they're not confident in the value that they bring, I think something like that could be devastating. Could you imagine, just talking to the folks out here listening, at your job? You know, if someone said, you know what, Mike, you're cool and all, you're great at what you do, I guess, but I'm going to package you and 3 other people in your department, and I'm going to trade you to this competing company because I want their superstar to replace all of y'all. I mean, personally, if I'm not assured of myself, I'm going to look at myself and be like, well, dang, as good as you say I am, I'm only a quarter of what this guy is that you're trying to bring in to replace me. It's interesting. Like, I don't know why it really resonated with me today, but I was thinking about the concept of value. And so what goes through the mindset of someone if they're on the other side of that, if they're not the superstar, if they're just one of this big package or jumble of guys that they're just trying to throw so they can get this one person back. What is their mindset? And what would your mindset be if someone were to tell you that, you know what, you and 8 other people are worth what that person's worth? Like, how would that make you feel? Right? So it's hard because I understand that it's sports, and yes, they're getting paid millions of dollars. And some folks would say, who cares? You can say I'm 1/20th of, this equation if you're going to pay me millions. Yeah, I get that. I understand. But again, we're talking about value. How do you value yourself? Have you assigned a true value to yourself? Have you taken a look in the mirror and really done an inventory as to the value that you bring to the table? And if you have not done that, to me, this is a glaring example or kind of a warning sign that you need to. Because if you don't assign value to yourself, if you don't take an inventory of who you are, how special you are, what you bring to the table, there's going to be somebody out there that's going to assign a value to you. And there's no guarantee that that value that they assign is going to be accurate to the value that you actually bring to the table. Marinate on that. If you don't know your own value, you need to stop and take an inventory right now. And when I say value, I'm not talking about how much you're adding to the economic engine or how much productivity you're adding. I'm just saying in general in life, in regards to your family, what type of value are you bringing? And are you honest about that? Can you recognize that? Are you sure of yourself in that regard? In regards to value to your community, I mean, what is it that you bring to the table? But then are you assured that that's you and you're confident in that? Because other people are going to assign a value to you, right? And this example with sports just made me think about life a little bit differently. But it just made me think, man. I mean, what goes through the mind of that person that's not the superstar, but on the other side of that equation? When they tell you, hey, I'm going to package you with all of these other guys. And granted, all of these other guys are professionals. They're the best of the best at their craft compared to the rest of the world, right? You're not talking about like some dude at the playground. You're talking about folks who have risen through the ranks of high school, college, and the pro ranks to get to a point in which they are one of the top 1% of the 1% basketball players in the world. So you're not talking about, slobs, right? You're talking about cats who are really good. But even still, the value prop is not man for man. It's interesting. That value is assigned by another entity. There is a value proposition assigned. There's a dollar amount assigned for the value of this particular person. It's interesting. Like, again, you have to know who you are. You have to know your value, and you have to be confident in that, because as the world assigns a value to you, whether it's accurate or not, you have to know who you are. And we have to make sure that we explain to kids that they are valuable and they are special in their own way. They're not going to be great at everything. Like I'm far from great at everything, right? But I do have things in which I know I would put myself up against some of the world's best in some areas. Now, there are other areas that you could probably get a kindergartner to come in here and run circles around me. I'm transparent. You know what I'm saying? But I understand my value proposition. I understand where I can excel. I understand who I am. I understand my greatness. I understand my faults and stuff as well, but I understand that. And when I see a trade in professional sports in which you basically throw a whole gamut of guys over for one person, I'd love to get into the mindset and see how does that group feel that this entity, this organization, this league thinks of them as only being 1/6 of what this superstar is. It's interesting. So if you don't know who you are, if you don't know your value, please believe somebody is ready to assign one to you. All right, y'all. Hey, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video. And there's a lot more coming. It's a lot more coming. And also make sure to subscribe to my podcast, Black Fathers Now, available on all the podcast platforms, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Amazon Alexa, wherever, iTunes, Apple Podcasts. Just subscribe and leave comments and share that as well, as we're here to, just bring inspiration, wisdom, and insight to folks. But just hopefully something that I've said allows you to think about something or think about an aspect of your life a little bit differently. And then you can go on and be the best version of yourself. And at the end of the day, that's what we're all about. So, hey, this is Mike D. Y'all be blessed, well, and wise. I'll holla at you. Peace.